And welcome back. Today flying out the MiG-15bis. This is the Russian variant. The German one as well as the J2 for China are all the exact same plane. So if you are wondering how to fly those, I got plenty of that on my channel. And what is the strength of the MiG-15bis? I'm running it on min fuel right now. The compression, as you can see on the screen right here, isn't the best. The guns aren't very easy to use and the roll rate, especially at higher speeds, can definitely trip you up. The thing is, this thing turns excellent and it has acceleration and energy for days. A4E here, bit of a sitting duck, and the only reason I'm including this fight here is because, well, you can see he's on fire. I take his wingtip off. The G91 has ample time to react to that, but instead he chooses to shove an AIM-9B right up his tailpipe. So I very promptly tell him to kindly fuck off, and we will be on our merry way. Looking around, I know there's probably someone near us, and I see J29F. And this is the kind of dogfight I will easily win. All I need to do is make sure that I don't pass through his guns. Notice he's pulling in, so we Nexi under his nose. And now we instantly reversed it, because in this kind of fight we will win almost every time. He tries to go vertical because he has a little bit of extra speed. Problem is, I turn too well for you to do that, and I have too much energy for you to do that. He goes into a flat spin, I can't hit him for some reason. And he is gonna be dead. He is not recovering from that. He is upside down with one wing and he's in a flat spin. So he is probably dead. Then I look down and I see a G91, and it's the same G91 that just stole our kill. So I now have to turn back in to make sure he doesn't do it again. Because look at him, he's about to pop up at the bottom of the screen, and there he is. Look how greedy he is. Maybe try getting your own kills and you don't need to do that. On to the next game. We have a little dogfight with an F30, and I'm just flying straight in at this point. I'm looking around. I know there's a lot of guys underneath me, which I can potentially energy trap because I do have a very superior state here. But then I see Brrrt coming in, so we start going head on with him, so he doesn't start off on our 6. So we go head on. I notice that he's a little bit slower than I thought, so we will pop the air brake now to slow down a little bit extra to secure the position, because the slower we go, the bigger my advantage becomes. And if I stay on his 6 or out of his guns for long enough, he will eventually die. And at this point, because I air broke just a little bit, I ended up instantly behind him, and there is nothing he can do anymore. And in the MiG-15bis versus an F30 or an F2 Sabre or anything for that matter, you can air brake a little bit more than your enemy, since you have the retention, the acceleration, as well as just the sheer turn rate to make up for it. This secures the position and makes you able to be a little bit more aggressive and kill them just a little bit quicker. But do be careful. Just because I just told you that you can use the air brake doesn't mean you should be stamping on it at all times. Use it sparingly, because if you overuse it, you are still gonna end up energy trapped, especially in games like this where you are fully up tier. It's 9.7 and we are gonna be ending up in a 1v5 versus a lot of these enemies. So who do you focus? Who do you engage first? And what is my general train of thought here? Because these kind of matches will happen very often. Get an AIM-9E shot at us, not the biggest problem in the world, so we just turn off a little bit, but we want to stay as aware as humanly possible, because I don't want to get gunned down by the third or maybe even the fourth guy. Everyone is turning for me now because I'm one of the first ones in. F105 is not going to be pulling a shot on this, F100 is not going to be doing the same thing, and here comes the Sea Vixen. And the Sea Vixen is one of those planes that if you are not going very fast, make sure to never point your ass at it, because you are gonna be dying. He luckily team kills the F100, because the Vixen probably got a lock on me very briefly, and then the missile goes for the afterburning F100 that's right next to me. Pretty logical, but Sea Vixen players seems to not understand that. And now we have 3 of them right ahead of us, as well as another F105. And who do I want to kill first here? And I have to go for this Sea Vixen here, because if I go for the other 3 over there, I will point my ass at this guy. So I want to make sure that I don't have that happen to me. He's going too fast, and now I have to break off again, because now another Sea Vixen is coming in from my 6. So again, I force the head on, and as long as you keep your nose pointed somewhat at the Sea Vixen, I don't have an afterburner, so there's very little chance he's just going to get that frontal aspect of. He can't really do anything. I also can't touch him if he keeps running away, but if I make sure that I keep tight angles, keep them turning, because the load factor of those red tops is also pretty bad. So as long as I keep them turning and keep them going head on, they literally can't do anything. Shoot a few rounds, manage to miss it, and we pull back up after the first Sea Vixen, because he is now on my 6. And I'm losing a lot of speed doing this, as well as a lot of time, and my team is dying in the meantime. And the Sea Vixens have done nothing all game but team kill one of their own. The thing is, they're also denying me the ability to do anything. I know that this guy is coming head on. He's not going very fast, he's not dodging very well, and the Sea Vixen isn't the best for dodging head-ons, since the pull on that isn't very strong. So we managed to take down the first one. And now there's a lot of enemies in this general area. As you can see, my team is basically gone. Most of them are crit, most of them are about to die. And my one teammate, the SU7, is across the map, as well as his E10 dart here. But he is not gonna last much longer either. Notice the Swift F7. We almost compress into the ground here. Be careful of that. You can use the air brake, but I was confident I was gonna pull out of it. Otherwise, make sure the air brake, drop your throttle, and make sure you don't slam it into the ground. And especially if you are upside down, if you have to roll over first, you are probably dead. So there goes one of the teammates. There goes the last MiG-21. And now it's just me and the E10 dart. First there's about 6 of them. I think there's only 5 over in this area. Yeah, there's I think a 6 guy somewhere. And there goes the E10 dart. Just fantastic. So what do we want to do now? We have an F105 that can run me down at all time. We have 2 Z-Vixens that can shoot me down at all time if I force myself slow. So I need to be kind of careful, and both of the Z-Vixens decide to start dogfighting me, which is actually kind of ideal because I'm right above all the other guys. So if they pitch up for me now, I have them energy trapped. I'm in that little bit of a superior state. The only problem is, well, I have to focus on too many people at once. So if they all start converging on me right now, I am probably dead. One of the C-Vixens here is going pretty slow. We managed to take him down. And now we dive out for a little bit because there's an F105 coming in and I'm not that fast anymore. And the second you start going below 750, especially if you don't see the missiles coming in, the red tops become very, very dangerous. And right now I just want to pick up some speed. I want to see if one of these guys might want to break off. I'm getting low fuel. The F-Saber is probably as well. And there's a very slim chance that that Sea-Vixen is going to try missiling me from like 2.5 kilometers away. And if he does, he's going to run out of them, which would be more than ideal. And there it comes. He shoots the missile just as planned. Kind of hoping it's going for the F105, but it isn't. But right now it's only 1v3. And I say only, it's still pretty sketchy. But the Saber also breaks off because I'm on my side of the map. And he has less fuel than me. Here comes the Swift. He dodges him pretty handily. And now here comes the F105, which is probably the more dangerous plane here because he has that Vulcan, he has that insanely high top speed, and he's stalling himself out. He's really being aggressive here, which all power to him. He's making so that I have a harder time dogfighting the Swift F7. The problem is, I can ignore both of these guys because I absolutely slam both of these players when I'm flying this thing, when they are flying that thing. They're just not gonna win. F105 dives out, he tries to bait me down, so that the F7 gets directly on my 6. I'm not having any of it, so I drop my flaps for a little bit, make my turn just that little bit extra tight, and we start turning into the Swift F7. And here he comes, at low speed. He is not going to be winning this, and right now the F105 is kind of far away, and I need to kill the Swift F7 right here. We're now at the kind of speed where if I let this guy go, he's going to end up on my 6, within range. And if I have to start dogfighting that guy, then the F105 is gonna start posing a massive threat. So we dive back down, bait him next to the SU7. F105 coming in, and with the way he has been flying, I can easily dogfight him and win. But unfortunately for me, I wasn't going to get another kill. Here comes this Sea-Vixen. He now has 4 missiles and he only has to focus on me. But I do know that he's playing pretty passively. He wasn't one of those that full balls to the wall dogfought me. But he also did shoot a missile from like 2.5 kilometers away. So I'm gonna just ignore him in the hope that he turns back for me. I am in a hurry. I am pretty impatient. But by chasing that guy, I'm actually gonna end up killing him later than by letting him come towards me. And I want him to go head on with me for a very simple reason. If I go head on with him, I can shoot him, he cannot shoot me. So I can just force these head-ons all day long. And he does one thing a lot of Sea-Vixen players like to do. He goes underneath me. But by going underneath me, I can cut him off and try to pitch up after him. Problem is, he is simply too fast. And he was too close for me to actually make that work. So we are gonna try that again. So we shoot a little bit of long range. Underlead a little bit. Quite a bit actually. And for right now, there is still not many people around. And I'm just chasing him right now to force him as slow as I can. Because if I break off now, he's 100% going to chase me. Because that's how Sea-Vixen players are. And that's exactly what he does. And he's now on my 6. at a decent distance, so he can't really shoot at me yet. But I'm expecting him here to just absolutely dive bomb, full send it for me, because he's already on my 6. And he does it again. He shoots his first missile off. He only has 3 left. The red tops do not have the best kind of range. They're very heavy missiles, they're very big missiles with a lot of drag. And they lose speed extremely fast. And they aren't that fast to begin with. And they don't have the most amount of burn time either. So now what we do is we pull him a little bit closer. We make him turn a little bit, making it so that he can't fire the missiles. And then before we actually merge, I'm just gonna turn into his turn. Look at that. He doesn't chase me. So I just kind of fly straight in the hope that he goes after me. Look at that. We turn away from him. And giving your ass to a Sea Vixen is a sure way to make them go for you. And look at that. He instantly goes for me. I just turn back in. Very, very big mistake on his end. We dive back on him now. And he's not that fast because he just spent a little bit while turning. And I get very close here on the 6. And at this point, we do my patented maneuver where you just stay as high as you can. They're so busy looking upwards that they fly into the ground. Doesn't work very often, but when it does, it's good fun. And here comes the Saber. And at this point, he is still alone. So I want to kill this guy as quickly as I can. And I know I can be aggressive versus him because I am on min fuel. I took off before him. But being aggressive right now is the slower tactic. I want to make this guy comfortable. I want to give him his little blanket, his heated pillows and his little hot chocolate. So he feels nice, warm and comfy. So he feels at home and he wants to attack me. He wants to get the kill. Despite having the numbers advantage, he gets impatient because he sees red and he sees an easy kill. Unfortunately for you, I'm on a min fuel MiG-15bis and I dodge your first pass. So we pull back in here. I notice he's coming in for the ram, basically, so I just dodge out of the way. And with that pass I notice he's running boosters, which means he's bleeding even more speed. So all I have to do now is make him a little bit slower, and then we force this fight strictly vertical. So I'm trying to stay above him, trying to make him turn into me, and he does exactly that. And now if you do this long enough, I'm going to end up directly, firmly planted on his 6. And that's exactly what happened here. Too slow to do anything directly in my guns, and he's too close and he can't even try to extend away. And even though he's faster than me, you actually need to be going faster than me to outrun me. So I can try to chase down an F30, F35, an F2, an F25, any of those planes that are faster than you. If they're looking at you and if they know it's 2v1, they don't need to engage you, they are just gonna be running. And I would still be chasing that F-Saber. And then this Venom would join in the fight. And if the Venom joins in the fight, the Venom is not a plane I want 2v1. But right now I'm gonna trick this guy into thinking he has an energy advantage. I'm going very fast on the deck. I have more energy than this guy right now, believe it or not. So we're gonna pitch up and we are gonna start staying in his neck G. And we are gonna pull up over him. And if he tries to force the vertical because he was above us, he is gonna be dying. And he does exactly that, just as planned. And at this point, I'm just on a 6. I can just ride his 6 until he dies. Because I have energy for days, he does not. And if he forces this vertical, then well, it's going to end up like this. What the Venom should have done is go downwards, try to keep his turn as tight as humanly possible. But then I would have just reset away and I would have energy trapped him regardless. He couldn't have done much because he's in the Venom. Right now I'm being very aggressive. I'm going to drop my flaps and my throttle, roll around, get another hit in. At this point I'm getting a little bit too close for comfort and I'm gonna start diving out here, resetting the fight. I still have 2 minutes of fuel, but look at that speed difference. And then he starts spraying ridiculous long range and he's really just showing signs of desperation. So I probably just busted up his engine because look at the speed difference. He is straight up falling out of the air. He's probably going 300-400 right now. It's kind of funny. But there you have it. Hope you enjoyed it. MiG-15bis always has been a classic, so I want to revisit the F2 Saber pretty soon here as well. I already got the footage, got a 1v5 or 1v4 versus Supersonics, as well as a 9-kill game coming up for you all. When? I don't know. I have too much footage on my PC and I simply do not know what to release. Hope you enjoyed it and see you in the next one.